He's never in a billion years going to get it in with any worse hands ever in that spot. No cash game reg on planet Earth would like 5 or 6 bet jam a flop with like ace 5 or ace 2 on ace 5-2 in that spot. I just know it. The what the fuck moment. Yeah, it's kind of funny. It was like, you know, I guess it worked out to be kind of a decent bluff, but when he snapped me off and like I was like shit, because I thought the chips were gonna come my way. The what the fuck moment with chips going the other way for me was losing with quad jack jack versus quad king king, a 900 big blind pot in the most expensive cash game in my life. Still makes my stomach turn thinking about it. Wow, that's sick, man. Damn, that's pretty intense. I would be pretty tilted getting 900 big blinds in and losing quads to quads. I'll tell you guys a little story. Well, a little story time with Jack here. So after Black Friday, I wasn't really sure what to do. I was living in New York. I want to say, when was Black Friday? That was 2011, right? So I was 23 or 24 years old or something like that. Was it 2011 Black Friday? Maybe I'm just making that up. I'm in my young 20s, and Black Friday hits, so I'm not really sure what to do. Yeah, I'm just gonna check for here. So it's, you know, Black Friday hits, and I'm talking to some people, and they're like, you know, Jack, why don't you move out of the country and like move to Canada and continue playing poker? And at that time, I had never been out of the country in my life. Mind you, I'm like I said, like 22, 23 years old, probably around that time. And I've never even took a vacation out of the country. So it seemed absolutely absurd to me. I was like, there's no way I can leave the country, leave my family behind, all my friends, all my cousins, this and that. I'm like, that sounds ridiculous. You guys are insane. Like, I can't do that. Come on, like let's be real, right? So I moved to Atlantic City for a couple of weeks. I legit, that was my plan. I was like, you know what? I'm going to move to Atlantic City, right? And live there in the hotel at the Borgata. I was like, I'm just gonna live there and play cash games for a living. I was like, it made a lot of sense to me at the time. I'm like, oh, it should be fine. You know, I like casinos. I like all the lights. I like all the, you know, I just enjoy being in a casino atmosphere. Like, I know some people don't. For me, I kind of like I like the whole Las Vegas Strip with the lights and, you know, it's very inspirational to me. Not to say I would enjoy living there long term, but just being there just inspires me. Just seeing all the lights and the casinos and the, you know, I don't know. It's just something about it. All the high-rise buildings and like the hotel. Like, it's just a nice vibe, right? So I decided to move to Atlantic City to play cash games for a living. So I was playing 5-10 at the time. And I remember the first week I made like, I want to say I made like $5,000 or $6,000 the first week I was there. And I was like, okay, I can, you know, this isn't bad. I can survive with this. This is good. Let's continue doing this. You know, I was like, I'll just make, you know, $5,000 to $6,000 a week just playing these random cash games. Maybe I'll make more per week. I thought I could make more. I thought I was a lot better than what I actually was at that time. Yeah, I thought I was a lot better than what I actually was at that time. So I was like, yeah, this is standard $5,000 to $6,000 weeks. Why not? This sounds incredible. Let's just continue doing that. So I was doing that, and then one day came. I want to say it was like 10 days into my move to Atlantic City, and I was just getting hammered. I was just getting hammered, and I was just getting flustered with just live cash games and like how slow everything moved. So like, you know, you would be like waiting an hour to get one hand, and then you look down and you see pocket queens. You're like, everyone, when you're playing a live cash games and you look down, you see pocket queens. That's a really good feeling. I know anybody that plays live cash games, you know what I'm talking about. You see those queens, you're like, oh, this is incredible. You know, I'll raise it up. Flop comes like, you know, ace 8-4, king turn. You know what I mean? Like, and then you get shit on. It was a day like that. Everything was going wrong. And I remember I finally was starting to make a little bit of a comeback. And then I got it in with pocket twos on the flop on ace 5-2. And it was for so much money. I think it was for, I mean, at that time it was for so much money. In a 5-10 cash game, it was for like, I want to say like 700 big blinds somehow went in on the flop on ace 5-2. Like I said, at this time, I wasn't as good, and I didn't really understand cash games that well because I had a heads-up background. So I played on ace 5-2, and so what happened was I had raised pre-flop. Some guy 3-bet me. I flatted. The flop came ace 5-2. I had pocket twos. I was like, oh, this is the nuts. This is the nuts. How could I ever lose, right? And unfortunately for me, I could 3-bet this, but I want to continue my story, so I'm not going to do it. I probably would 3-bet this otherwise. But so unfortunately for me, I came from a heads-up background. I overplayed the hell out of this hand, guys. I'm going to tell you right now. So I bet, like, oh no, I checked the flop because he was a 3-better. He makes a standard C-bet in a 3-bet pot, right? And I raised quite large, if I remember correct. I don't remember, obviously the exact numbers or whatever. I raised quite large. And then he re-raised. And I was like, re-raising a check raise in this spot. This is interesting. And then I re-raised. Okay? I re-raised after that. Yeah, I re-raised after that. And then he went all in massive over the top. And I happily called. And in this spot, it's funny because when I think about the hand now, I mean, I should have known, being like a cash game reg like this guy was, he's never in a billion years going to get it in with any worse hands ever in that spot. No cash game reg on planet Earth would like 5 or 6 bet jam a flop with like ace 5 or ace 2 on ace 5-2 in that spot. I just know it. I know it now. I know it now. I didn't know it then. So he would have never raised, if he didn't have something better than pocket twos. He either had pocket fives somehow that he 3-bet pre-flop, but most likely, obviously, you guys know what he had. He had the aces. But what happened for me was I was so upset when this happened. Like when he opened his cards, I was so tilted because like at that time I thought everyone was coolering me. Everyone that plays poker knows what I'm talking about. I was like, oh, everyone keeps coolering me, but that wasn't really a cooler in like a 6-bet all in. Get it in for 300, 400 big blinds in a cash game spot. I just got it in too light in that kind of spot. Yeah, so I got it in. I remember he flipped over his cards and my heart just sank. I was like, oh, because it was like literally like all of my money at that time, like everything, like every coin I had was on that table basically. But you know what's lucky for me? What happened was it ran out a straight on the board. So it ran out 4-3. And I was like, oh my God, phew. Because that was the last of it. That was literally the last of it. So it ran out a straight. It ran out like ace 5-2, 4-3. And I was like, I'm saved. I literally felt saved. But what happened in the next few hours, I guess like my emotions were high. I was tilted at that time. Mind you, this was, 10, 11 years ago, whatever it was. So I basically just dusted off the rest of it in like, I don't remember most of the hands. I dusted off, a couple of bluffs. I made a couple of wide hero calls that were not correct in like a deep stack cash game playing live where people's bluffing frequencies are like insanely low. For those of you who actually do, play cash games, at the casino, you guys know what I'm talking about. Like if you're playing those like seasoned like cash game regs that just literally grind it out at the casino, these guys, when they 3-bet you, when they check raise and stuff like that, they literally just have it, right? I didn't know this at that time. So I kept like making stupid hero calls and like just like, and then dusting off bluffs and spots where like, you know, I'm like 4-betting fly. Like I was just doing all kinds of stupid things to lose the rest of it that day. So I lost all of it that day. So I remember I lost like, because I told you guys like the first week I was up like 5K, and then that one day overall, even though I chopped that pocket twos versus pocket aces pot, which I should have lost a massive pot, even then, even with that, you know, being considered, I still lost, I want to say about $8,000 that day. And I was like, you know, I was basically close to broke. I think I had like $1,200 left or something like that. And I was just like demoralized. I was like, you know, at that time, because it was like, it wasn't even about the $8,000 I lost. It was also about like, those are the old school regs. I had all of my money stuck on Full Tilt Poker, my entire bankroll. So I treated Full Tilt Poker as if it was like a legitimate bank. I had $110,000 on Full Tilt Poker at the time, which was every single coin I've ever made playing poker up until that point, which was like 3 years of money that I saved up, and it was all in my Full Tilt Poker account. And I only had like 5,000 or 4,000 or 5,000 cash when I moved to Atlantic City and thought I was just going to run it up and just live life there indefinitely, maybe forever. I don't know. That was kind of my plan at that time. I was like, oh, maybe I'll just live in Atlantic City forever. With like a $4,000 or $5,000 bankroll and like just run it up. I mean, I don't know. That's what originally I was thinking about doing. But yeah, so everything just hit me at once. I was like, okay, so this career at Atlantic City is probably not going to work out. I just dusted off $8,000. I just tilted it off. Now I feel like shit. I only got like $1,200, $1,300 left. I still have the 110,000 stuck on Full Tilt Poker that I don't even know if I'll ever get back in my life. And, you know, I'll remember that moment for the rest of my life, you know, that drive back home from Atlantic City back to, you know, Sunnyside, New York, where I live, Queens. Man, it was so painful. God, it was so painful, guys. That drive back home, we're going to flat this on the button, why not? That drive back home was just so brutal. Oh, it was just gut-wrenching. It was gut-wrenching. Just driving back home, I'm just like, what should I do? Should I move to Canada? Should I quit poker and maybe just like be a waiter again? Because I was a waiter for 3 or 4 years. I was like, my dad has some hookups at the Plaza Hotel in New York. I was like, maybe I'll just be a waiter. Maybe I shouldn't play poker. I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I should, you know, play poker anymore. Probably it's best to quit and like just find a normal job. Like, why am I doing this? Is it really realistic for me to move out of the country to play poker? I can't make a living at Atlantic City. I don't like cash games. They move too slow for me. I don't want to wait, you know, that long just to see one hand. You know what I mean? So yeah, that story came about from, who was it that just made me tell that story? Reapworthy, when he was talking about that gut-wrenching feeling, still makes my stomach turn, he says, about the Jack losing versus quads. That's, you know, my gut-wrenching story. I'm going to call this guy. This guy looks like a mega whale, the way he's playing this hand, the fact that he has less than $100. He might even have ace king here or something stupid. All right, he's about pocket queens. That's a very interesting way to play pocket queens. We're going to tag this guy as a fish. All right, so we're down like $10 on a session now. Yeah, so that was my gut-wrenching story, Mr. Reapworthy.